She's the calm in the chaos, the brain in the
Okay, let's
storm.
unpack this. We've heard the massive claim, right, that the health and aging landscape is undergoing, well, a radical, fundamental transformation driven by AI.
Hmm.
And not just AI as some, background tool, but AI as a pivotal force in longevity.
Right.
But honestly, when we hear AI, a lot of us still think drafting emails or maybe making a funny picture. Is this just hype around health tracking? Or is AI truly the key to staying stronger, sharper, and, more independent for decades longer?
But what's fascinating here, I think, is understanding how AI has evolved. It's gone from just being a simple organizer to actually shaping our biological lives.
Shaping them? How so?
Our mission in this deep dive is really a shortcut to understanding that shift. We want to connect the familiar, like, say, your smartwatch, telling you to stand up,
Yeah, mine does that all the time.
all the way to the really futuristic stuff, like nanorobotics potentially repairing DNA down the line.
Mm.
We're basically sifting through the research on what happens when you turn your life, essentially, into a data stream.
Okay, so we've got research looking at the good, the bad, and maybe the slightly uneasy sides of this AI longevity trend.
Definitely uneasy at times.
And critically, this whole discussion feels especially relevant now, given, global demographic trends.
Absolutely. If traditional support networks maybe shrink as more people live well into their 90s and beyond, well, technology kind of has to step in, doesn't it? As an essential ally for managing health and, frankly, maintaining dignity in those later years.
That makes sense. An essential ally.
Exactly. So we've structured this deep dive to be hopefully immediately useful. We'll start with the AI tools you can actually leverage today. No lab coat needed, promise.
Good. Practical first.
Then we'll tackle the really crucial psychological and security risks that come with all this hyper-tracking. And finally, we'll look towards the experimental cutting edge and the more distant horizon.
All right, let's dive into the present then. Part 1. The AI-powered longevity journey, available now. The core theme here, as I understand it, is how AI takes incredibly complex biological data stuff, usually only doctors understood, and turns it into simple, actionable insights for everyday people.
Precisely. It's the move beyond that very generic eat less, move more advice. We're now able to talk about advanced metabolic health in a truly digital context. Instead of just guessing, AI can give you a daily report card.
A report card? Like what?
Yeah, like the longevity score you might get from apps like Humanity or The Longest.
Yeah.
They literally try to translate your meal logs into a projected impact on your lifespan.
Wow, okay. That's specific.
It gets even more specific. We're moving towards real-time feedback loops. Think continuous glucose monitor CGMs.
Right, those little sensors that track blood sugar.
Exactly, 24/7. Now, when these sensors, something like the Dexcom G7, merge their data with AI, the AI can actually predict blood sugar spikes. It can link them directly to what you just ate.
And then what? Tell you off.
Maybe gently. It might even suggest something like taking a short walk right then and there to, flatten the curve of that spike. That's truly personalized metabolic direction.
That's pretty powerful. And it's not just glucose, right? I saw mentions of more comprehensive tracking.
Oh, yeah. Tools like Provitalis Aura, for instance. They claim to track over 50 biomarkers to build a really full health span profile. It's a lot of data.
A lot of data. Okay, moving on slightly, what about areas that were maybe overlooked before? Hormones, for example.
Yes, this is a huge one. It's remarkable how AI is starting to address issues that were historically, frankly, dismissed, especially concerning hormonal balance in women.
It's probably just stress line.
Exactly that. For decades, women might present complex cyclical symptoms and just get waved away. AI is changing that. It acts like an on-call co-pilot for tracking symptoms and, crucially, detecting clear patterns over time.
So the AI sees the pattern the doctor might have missed.
Or that the patient struggled to articulate clearly. And this is where personalization gets really powerful. We're seeing a move towards lab-grade testing you can do at home.
Lab grade at home? Like what?
Well, the UVA app, for example. It allows testing for key hormones, estrogen, progesterone, LH, right there. And it doesn't just give you numbers, it turns those readings into a structured perimenopause map.
A map through perimenopause. Okay. That sounds useful.
And even if you're not ready for, that kind of biochemical deep dive, other apps like Clue use AI differently. They analyze your symptom tracking, your moods, your cycle patterns, and compile it all into doctor-ready reports.
So it helps you talk to your doctor more effectively.
Precisely. This is a critical point. AI is bridging that gap between sort of personalized DIY tracking and professional evidence-based medical care. It gives patients solid data to validate their symptoms.
Okay, let's pivot again. Genetics, the ultimate decoder, right? We all know about services like 23andMe, getting risk reports, ancestry stuff.
Sure, the basics. But the real explosion came later with third-party interpreters. Services like Xcode Life or Self-Decode.
What do they do differently?
They let you upload your raw genetic data from those initial tests. And here's the key shift. They move you from simply predictive genetics, you might have a risk for X, towards potentially prescriptive action.
Prescriptive how? Based on my genes.
Exactly. What's fascinating, and maybe a bit concerning, is how the burden of interpretation shifts. It moves from the clinician more towards you, the consumer. These platforms can reveal gene variants linked to really complex processes like detoxification pathways or maybe weaker methylation.
Methylation. Okay, remind me.
Simply put, it's how your body manages key chemical reactions, essential stuff. Understanding a variant here might finally explain why you crash hard after a 4 p.m. coffee.
Ah, so it's not just lack of willpower. It could be my actual genetics dictating caffeine sensitivity.
Could be. It provides a potential why.
Okay, so AI is helping decode our bodies, manage metabolism, track hormones. What about just integrating healthy habits, making it all stick? AI isn't just tracking, it's actively managing our day sometimes, right?
Yeah, it's moving into that space too.
Yeah.
We're seeing gamification tools like Habitica. It basically turns your health habits and even chores into a kind of role-playing game.
Makes flossing sound more fun, maybe.
Perhaps. And then there's scheduling AI, like Reclaim.ai. It looks at your calendar, maybe even your energy levels, and automatically slots in wellness habits. Like, okay, you have a gap, time for that 30-minute walk, or let's schedule meditation here.
Automatically puts it in the calendar.
Yep. And thinking about support, especially for older adults, which we mentioned earlier, there are systems like Thriving.ai. They integrate smart home sensors, wearables, even video check-ins into one platform for caregivers or family.
Okay, that sounds genuinely helpful for independent living.
And then there's companion AI, things like EleQ. It's an AI-powered robot companion designed specifically for older adults. It offers emotional support, conversation, gentle reminders to move or hydrate.
A robot companion.
And of course, even the general assistants we all know, ChatGPT, Gemini, Alexa people, are using them as personal allies for things like medication reminders or just scheduling walks.
That's a powerful idea, the robot companion providing emotional support. But I can't help but feel a bit of, I don't know, tension here. If AI is automating our fitness, scheduling our sleep, analyzing our moods, even being our companion, where does that leave, genuine human connection or even just our own intrinsic motivation?
That tension. That's exactly why we need to hit the reality check hard. Now, part 2 is all about balancing this empowerment with some serious caution because the ability to track everything, well, it doesn't automatically lead to optimal health. It can easily spiral into obsession.
Right. Let's start with the psychological harm then. This constant feedback checking your sleep score first thing, your heart rate variability, every tiny little anomaly your watch picks up, it carries a heavy emotional impact, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The research backs this up. It can lead straight to anxiety, constant rumination, or even compulsive behaviors like orthosomnia.
Orthosomnia, what's
It's
that?
a critical concept here. It's basically the clinical term for an unhealthy fixation on achieving perfect sleep quality. And it's often driven by obsessively checking data from fitness trackers.
So trying so hard to sleep perfectly actually makes you sleep worse?
Ironically, yes. Chasing those perfect metrics generates additional stress. And we know stress is profoundly counterproductive to longevity. It raises cortisol, impacts inflammation.
Yeah.
So when your watch sort of scolds you for sitting too long, or your app dictates exactly when and how much water you need to drink, the critical question becomes, who's actually in charge here? Are you using the tool, or is the tool using you?
That loss of autonomy.
Exactly. Over-reliance on AI can really undermine self-trust and just basic body awareness. We need to use these tools to support our own rhythm, not to let them run our lives.
Okay, psychological impact is one thing. What about the more practical risks? Privacy, security, access.
Huge concerns. The privacy implications around collecting extensive biometrics, your heart rate, your sleep patterns, maybe even your stress levels, and syncing it all to the cloud. That's obvious enough.
But genetic data is different, isn't it?
It carries a unique threat. Your genetic information is uniquely identifiable. It's you. And once that genetic fingerprint is out there, digitally speaking, there's no changing the password. You can't get a new genome.
That's a sobering thought. And what about access? Is this tech really for everyone?
Well, that's the thing. The democratization of health tracking gets talked about a lot, but it feels a bit like a myth when the entry ticket, the good sensors, the app subscriptions, the smart rings, costs a small fortune. It creates health divides, not bridges.
So the rich get healthier, potentially?
That's a real risk. And beyond cost, we have to acknowledge the issue of bias and accuracy. AI models are trained on data, right? If that data isn't diverse, the models might not generalize well, they might not be accurate for people of different ancestries, or for specific conditions like, say, PCOS.
And the devices themselves aren't perfect either.
Definitely not. Wearables and sensors have known errors. They have lag times. And if you, the user, are acting as your own data analyst, you might easily misinterpret those flawed readings.
Which brings us neatly to the clinical gap, I suppose. Misinterpretation.
Exactly. You get a biological age score back from an app or a specific glucose reading. That is not a diagnosis.
But people might treat it like one.
They might. And many of these wellness apps operate in a kind of regulatory gray area. They aren't typically certified medical devices. This means their marketing claims can easily outpace the hard clinical evidence.
So they can promise more than they can scientifically deliver.
Potentially. And this creates friction. Doctors often discount app data because there's no standardization, no universal quality control. So you have the empowered patient coming in with their app data and the doctor being skeptical.
So what's the takeaway for the listener here?
It's clear. Don't make major medical decisions based solely on consumer app reports or genetic tests. If something flags a risk, fantastic row. Use that as a prompt. Seek proper genetic counseling. Get confirmatory clinical testing through your doctor.
Don't just act on the number from the app.
Right. Acting solely on that single output without professional context can be stressful at best or potentially harmful at worst.
Okay, that's a crucial reality check. So if AI is already helping manage daily inputs, despite those risks, the next logical step seems to be moving from self-management towards actual re-engineering of the aging process itself.
Exactly. Let's look beyond the App Store now and more into the lab. Part 3, the cutting edge and the horizon.
What's happening right now that's pushing the boundaries?
Well, we're seeing innovations that could fundamentally redefine health span, not just lifespan. On the immediate cutting edge is disease prediction.
Predicting diseases? How?
There are AI models like one called Delphi 2M being trained on literally millions of anonymized patient records. The goal is to estimate your personal risk for over 1,000 different diseases, potentially years before symptoms appear.
Okay, wait, hold on. 1,000 diseases. Years in advance. That sounds like a powerful but maybe terrifying amount of knowledge.
It is.
If AI tells me years ahead of time that I have a significantly elevated risk for, I don't know, some awful disease, how does knowing that affect my quality of life today? Isn't that just replacing the stress of having a disease with the stress of predicting one?
That is absolutely the critical emotional and ethical challenge of living with predictive data. A huge question.
Okay. What else is on the cutting edge that's maybe less terrifying?
Huh, fair enough. Well, we're also seeing AI-enhanced ECG tools, electrocardiograms. But these aren't just looking for heart attacks. They're being used to calculate your biological age versus your chronological age.
So my heart's age versus my birthday age.
Kind of. Imagine being told your heart functions like, say, a 45-year-old's, even though your passport insists you're 66. It shifts the focus from just time lived to health maintained. It's a different way of thinking about aging.
Interesting. And what about developing new treatments?
The drug discovery space is accelerating wildly because of AI. Companies like In Silico Medicine, for example, are using AI to design molecules specifically targeting age-related diseases much, much faster.
Faster how?
They're shrinking development time from potentially years down to mere months in some cases for the initial design phase. They're even testing compounds that target multiple aging pathways at once, showing promise in extending lifespan in lab organisms. Still early days for humans, but the pace is incredible.
Designing drugs with AI. Okay, now let's gaze even further out. The horizon. What's the really speculative stuff?
Okay, buckle up. The first major concept moving from pure theory towards actual prototype is the digital twin.
The digital twin of me.
Essentially, yes. A virtual replica of your body mirroring your health data in real time. Your biochemistry, your organ function, everything simulated in a computer.
And why would I want a digital twin?
Imagine being able to test interventions on your twin first. AI could use this twin to simulate exactly how your specific body would respond to a particular diet, a new medication, or a different exercise plan before you physically try it out.
So test driving health choices on a virtual me.
Exactly. It's like the ultimate expression of hyper-personalization, finding the optimal pathway for you without the trial and error on your actual body.
That is? Wow. Okay, that's one horizon. What else?
Then there's the really wild frontier, medical nanorobotics.
Nanobots, like in sci-fi movies.
Getting there, we're talking microscopic machines, potentially the size of cells, that could one day theoretically swim through your bloodstream.
And do what?
Deliver drugs directly to damaged cells with pinpoint accuracy, or maybe even actively repair damaged DNA at the source. There are early-stage experiments happening, for instance, at places like Harvard. It's technology moving right down to the cellular level.
Repairing DNA with tiny robots. Okay, my brain needs a moment. That's truly moving beyond managing symptoms into fundamental biological reengineering.
That's the potential, yes. The highest expression of data-driven control over the aging process itself.
So after all that, from CGMs to nanobots, what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to navigate this? It sounds overwhelming.
It can be, but the key is perspective. AI is neither a magic pill, nor is it the enemy. Think of it as a sophisticated toolbox. You're still the one holding the wrench.
Okay, a toolbox. So how do we use it smartly?
The smartest approach, I think, is layered. Use the accessible tools first. Things like the general assistants, ChatGPT, Gemini, Pi.ai. They can be great for practical support. Ask them to create flexible fitness program ideas or brainstorm healthy meal planning templates based on your preferences.
Use the easy stuff first.
Right. Maybe explore wearables, not to obsess over scores, but to build better physiological awareness. What makes your heart rate spike? How did that meal really affect your energy? Use it as information, not judgment.
But keep common sense central.
Absolutely. And most importantly, keep your own intrinsic body awareness at the center. Listen to your body's signals alongside the text data. Don't outsource your intuition.
So reiterate the core message here.
You are the CEO of your health journey. AI can be an incredibly powerful data officer, maybe your chief science officer, but it's not your boss. Use its insights wisely, critically, but don't let the metrics dictate your happiness or your self-worth.
And remember what longevity is really about.
Exactly. It isn't just about adding years to life, it's about adding life to years.
Yeah.
Living well for as long as possible. And living well requires a sense of agency, of autonomy, not just optimized data points.
Okay, so as we close this deep dive, maybe we leave you, the listener, with this provocative thought to mull over.
Given the immense power of these AI tracking tools and this potential for truly optimized awareness they offer, how do we define that line? The line between helpful hyper-optimization and letting technology undermine our own motivation, our connection to our body.
Especially when the tools themselves, however smart, lack the basic humanity, the empathy, the wisdom we arguably need to live a truly dignified life. How much data ultimately is truly too much for one person to handle gracefully?
Something to think about.
Just truth with a grin and some research skills. Talk menopause with muscle, not myths and fears. She'll hand you facts and maybe a protein shake, my dear. From stress to craving, she's walked that